Hey folks, as you can see, your favorite sorcerer is here with a new video. I want to talk about the ethics of spellcasting. Um, so, there are questions of ethics that are being raised again and again and again, where people um, kind of like don't know if it's morally okay to use, let's call it, energetic manipulation. Okay. And I just want to give you my take on that. And this has nothing to do necessarily with uh, destructive magic or whatever, right? I don't even recommend that you use destructive magic because most of the time the problem lies actually with you. And if it's necessary, then don't threaten. Just do it quickly and cleanly, right? It's like the samurai. A samurai doesn't threaten to pull a sword because if he pulls it, he's obligated to uh, have, let's call it, human fluids on it, and then you can put it back, right? So you don't threaten. You don't threaten. You just do what you need to do, right? Most of the time, I advise against it. There, just like in real life, or let's call it in the physical world, there will be situations where it is required that you protect yourself and neutralize the threat. But that's maybe 1% of the cases. This is not a lot of cases. But what about the manipulation that we talk about? What about the psychic influence? I'm teaching the school of psychic seduction right now, and you could make an argument that this is ethically and morally wrong to do because at the end of the day, you're manipulating a person, right? Now, the same applies to everything else that I teach. This stuff can be used to get your way pretty much all the time. What you want will be accomplished if you use the techniques correctly, and you follow the instructions. Oftentimes people think that it's about like this and that. Yeah, but this is not how it works. It's about aligning your will with the right energetic conditions and then using specific rituals and energy and all that stuff to get a specific results. To get a specific result, we have to take the macrocosm into consideration as well. Okay, so it's not like browbeating your desire and intentions onto the world. That's not how it works. But when you align yourself with the macrocosm, you understand the timing. Listen, timing is probably the most important thing. It's the difference between greatness and failure. Timing. The difference between a talented person and a genius and a person that goes down in history and whatnot, that's all timing. Timing is the difference. So when I talk about astrology, numerology, and many things like that, these things are by no means just, or divination, these things are not just, substitutes or, things that you could optionally do. They're very important. And this is why people fail all the time with their magic, because they don't understand when the right time is for what, or they have no patience, or they think, now I want it now it needs to be there. This is why I intentionally keep the groups that I teach small, because most people are not ready for real magic. They're really not. They don't understand it. They're too maybe immature. I don't know what that is. Anyways, back to the topic. So let's talk about ethics. When you're pitching deals, for example, one of the most powerful methods is that you bypass the conscious mind and talk directly to the unconscious mind, because that opens up the person for the message. What am I saying here? If you're pitching a deal and the deal is actually good and whatnot, right? and you deliver that message to whatever you're raising money, for example, or it's a potential investor or whatever, right? You think that this information that you have in your conscious mind transferred over to the person is going to do the job. That's not how information is being processed, you see. Information is being processed by, for example, you having something in your conscious mind, in your prefrontal cortex, speaking it, telling the other person, and the other person has to first, that their unconscious mind, their primitive parts of the brain have to process that information first, and they have to deem that interesting and worthy enough to be able to be processed um, by the prefrontal cortex. There's a phenomenon called um, cognitive miser. Okay, cognitive miser is essentially the brain tries to save a lot of energy. Okay, and most things will be ignored. They don't make it to the conscious consideration, even if it's objectively good stuff. If you can't get your message across, you will just be ignored. Okay, now you could use that for good or you could use that for bad. You can use that to create win-win situations, because if you truly believe that the deal that you have to offer could help that person, then I believe it's ethical to use the method like that, because you're not harming the person. You're creating a win-win situation, but you also at the same time, you understand the conditions of this person, the human condition that they're in, where their mind and their brain are just fucking with them all the time. You know, that's the human condition. The conscious mind, the unconscious mind, and all of these processes that are all going on in there, they're not necessarily helping most people. They're actually working against them, right? So you understanding the processes, and great power comes with great responsibility. Now you have the responsibility to get the message across. And as long as your intentions are clean, as long as your ethics are clean, I believe it is okay to use a pitching method like that. Because that pitch is brutal. You first got to establish the right frame. You gotta establish dominance, and you gotta create all kinds of manipulations in their perception using your language and your positioning, so that they're actually perceiving you as higher value than themselves, ideally. And a lot of people would say that that's unethical, but I don't believe it is. See, never mistake something feeling good for being right. A lot of things that feel good in the moment are not good or right for you. This is what it means to be an adult. You have to be able to see past the present moment and your own emotions. Sometimes the things that don't feel good are good in a broader sense and in the long term. So in this case, yes, of course, it feels better to create harmony or to be nice and all that stuff, right? But it's not necessarily going to do the job, because that person is not going to be ready for the message of the deal. So you can't pitch them that. And this great project that could have helped both of you and the world is never going to happen. All because you were too sensitive and listened to more to your emotions, or you couldn't discern between what feels good and what is right. Yeah. So, what does that have to do with the things that I teach and the manipulations and the psychic influence? Well, it's the same thing here. Psychic seduction, for example. If you are truly a good person, if you truly believe that this person would benefit from being with you, then there's nothing wrong with using psychic seduction and psychic manipulation to get that person. If you truly believe, or if your intentions are clean and you think that you are helping that person, or do you that if your ethics are to improve your own life as well as the lives of the people around you, then there is nothing wrong with using psychic influence. You will run into problems when you use psychic influence with unclean ethics, because you're going to destroy yourself. At one point, the energy dynamics are going to stop you. Things are going to come back to you, and you're going to be stopped in your tracks, or worse, you're going to be destroyed. That's just something you can observe. It's not something that you have to believe me. You're free to do whatever it is that you want. However, I'm warning you and I'm just telling you how things actually work. Good. So that's my take on that, because I had something going on about that recently. Today, on the 5th of May, we're going to do an ESP seminar. Okay, a seminar on among other psychic influence, of course, right? But I'm going to teach you how to develop your psychic senses, essentially, right? They're one of the most important things for psychic influence, and we're going to do that today at noon PST. Noon PST. Now, if you wanna be on there are 3 links in the description under this video, and message me there. We still got a couple hours left, and if you message me on time, you can still be part of that. The admission fee is very, very affordable. It's $197. Very different from my other seminars. Usually, I don't charge less than $1,000 for the seminars that I run, and this is I just want to make it admissible for a lot of people. Okay, so be there or be sorry. What did they say? Be there or regret it, because there's nobody that's going to teach you that except for me. Good. I hope you got something out of this video and it clarified a couple of things. Peace.